The cruelest prison is the one you build with your own desperation, locking yourself in while they walk away, indifferent. Why do you keep running after someone who's walking away? Why are you begging for love when you deserve so much more? Look in the mirror. What do you see? Is this the version of yourself you're proud of? The one bending, breaking, sacrificing every ounce of self-respect for someone who won't even glance in your direction? Stop for a moment and ask yourself, why don't you see it? Why don't you see how much this has broken you? You're giving everything, your time, your energy, your soul, to someone who treats you like an afterthought. And for what? Is this love? Is this what society has told you to settle for? To keep fighting for someone who barely notices you exist? To shrink yourself smaller and smaller, hoping that one day they'll wake up and appreciate you? Wake up. This isn't love. This is a trap. A toxic cycle designed to keep you chasing something that's not even real. And every moment you spend running after someone who doesn't value you, you lose a piece of yourself. Your confidence, your power, your joy. Stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending this is normal. Society tells you to fight for love, to never give up. But here's the harsh truth they don't tell you. Real love doesn't make you feel worthless. Real love doesn't leave you questioning your value. This isn't just a video. This is your wake-up call. You've been pouring your soul into a black hole, hoping they'll see your worth. But they won't. Not as long as you keep handing it to them on a silver platter. People don't value what's freely given. They value what they have to earn. And right now, you're giving away the most precious parts of yourself for free. Enough. The time has come to stop chasing, to stop begging, to stop breaking yourself into pieces for someone who doesn't even care. You're not here to prove your worth to anyone. You're here to know it, to own it, and to live it. Let me tell you something powerful. The second you stop trying to make them see your value, they will. But by then, you won't care anymore. You'll have risen so far above their indifference that their opinion will be irrelevant. So ask yourself, is this the life I want to live? Is this the person I want to be? If the answer is no, then today is the day it changes. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. This isn't a game. This is your life, and it's time to take it back. Now here is your task for this video. Drop a comment below. I choose myself. And hey, don't ignore this, as this shows me that my words are making an impact and I am not talking to deaf people. So go, throw it out in the comments. I choose myself. And when you are at it, press that like button and subscribe to the channel. Because today isn't just another day. It's the day you wake up and reclaim the power you've been giving away. Let's do this. Number 1. Stop dancing for their applause. The truth about chasing validation. The moment you start seeking someone else's approval, you hand them the keys to your prison. Picture this. You're running on a treadmill that never stops. With every step, you're trying to prove your worth to a partner, a friend, a boss. But no matter how fast or how far you run, you never arrive. That's what chasing validation feels like. You're stuck in an endless loop, hoping for a nod of approval that always seems just out of reach. But here's the thing. The more you chase, the further they pull away. It's like trying to catch smoke with your hands, desperate, exhausting, and ultimately futile. Why? Because validation doesn't come from them. It comes from you. Now you might say, but what if I stop chasing? What if they leave? Good. Let them. Because anyone who needs you to beg for their attention isn't someone worth keeping in your life. If your worth is determined by how much you can give, how much you can please, or how much you can sacrifice, then the problem isn't you, it's them. Think of it this way. You're a lighthouse, standing tall and unshakable. Does a lighthouse chase ships? Number. It stands firm, shining its light, and the right ships find their way to it. But the moment you start chasing, you're no longer a lighthouse. You're just another wave, easily forgotten and easily replaced. Society doesn't want you to know this. From the moment you could walk, they've conditioned you to chase approval. They've taught you that being liked is the ultimate goal. Make people happy, avoid conflict, and twist yourself into whatever shape they need. It's a lie, a scam designed to keep you small. Look around you. How many people are living their lives for the applause of others? How many are terrified of being disliked, so they bend over backward, erasing themselves just to fit in? Is that what you want for yourself? To be a shadow in someone else's life instead of the light in your own? Here's a metaphor for you. Imagine you're holding a glass of water. You keep offering it to people, hoping they'll drink it and thank you. But they don't. Instead, they complain that it's not cold enough, or that the glass isn't their favorite color. Meanwhile, your hand grows tired, your arm aches, and the water spills everywhere. At what point do you realize you don't need to hold the glass at all? But what if it's hard to stop chasing? Of course it's hard. Breaking free from a lifetime of conditioning isn't easy. But every step you take away from chasing is a step closer to freedom. Ask yourself, are you living a life you respect? Are you honoring your boundaries, your time, your energy? Or are you giving it all away for nothing? Strength isn't about how much you can give to others. It's about how much you can stand firm in yourself. People respect what's solid, unshakable, and certain. And when you stop chasing, you become all three. Here's the reality. Not everyone will value you. And that's okay. You don't need everyone to like you. You don't need anyone to complete you. Your worth isn't a currency to be spent on their approval. It's a treasure to be guarded, cherished, and shared only with those who earn it. When you stop chasing validation, something incredible happens. You become magnetic. People start noticing you, not because you're trying to impress them, but because you've stopped caring whether they're impressed. Strength is attractive. Confidence is irresistible. And when you walk through life with the quiet power of self-respect, the world takes notice. So stop running on the treadmill. Step off, stand tall, be the lighthouse, and let them see what they've been blind to all along, someone who doesn't need their approval to shine. Now here's your task for this video. Drop a comment below that says, "I refuse to chase what isn't meant for me." Don't brush this off. This isn't just about typing a few words. It's about declaring to yourself, to the universe, that you're done giving your power away. It's a line in the sand, a commitment to stop running after those who don't see your worth. And while you're at it, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Not because I need it, but because you do. Every time you take a small action like this, you're reinforcing the decision to put yourself first, to walk away from what doesn't serve you, and to reclaim your strength. Today isn't just another day. Today is the day you stop apologizing for your value and start living unapologetically. Let's make it happen together. Drop that comment now. I refuse to chase what isn't meant for me. Let's go. Number 2. When red flags turn to chains, recognize the warning signs before it's too late. Denial is the comfort zone of the powerless. The moment you face the truth, you reclaim your freedom. Imagine you're driving down a winding road and your car's warning light flashes. It's subtle at first, a quiet signal that something's not right. But instead of pulling over to check, you keep driving, ignoring the signs, hoping the problem will fix itself. Then suddenly the engine fails and you're stranded. That's exactly what happens when you ignore the warning signs in your relationships. The truth is, most people don't miss the signs, they avoid them. Why? Because the truth is uncomfortable. It's easier to tell yourself, it's just a phase, or maybe they're busy, than to admit that the person you care about has stopped valuing you. Denial feels safer, but it's a slow poison. Now you might be wondering, what are these signs I should be looking for? Sometimes they're so subtle they slip by unnoticed. A shift in tone when they speak to you, fewer compliments, or a lack of enthusiasm in their responses. Other times, they're loud and blatant. Cancelled plans without explanation, unanswered calls, or outright disrespect. Whether the signs whisper or scream, they're always there. You just need to stop making excuses for them. Take a moment and reflect. How many times have you been the one always initiating conversations? The one bending over backward to make plans? The one constantly compromising while the other person seems indifferent? And what do you get in return? Silence, excuses, or worse, nothing at all. Here's the hard truth. People value what they have to earn. If you're the one putting in all the effort, you're teaching them that they don't have to try. You're teaching them that your time, energy, and attention are cheap. And let me tell you something, cheap things are easily discarded. Now you might be thinking, but what if I stop trying? Won't they walk away? Maybe they will. But here's the thing. If someone only sticks around when you're doing all the work, are they really worth keeping? Love, respect, and connection are not one-way streets. Relationships thrive when both people invest equally. Ignoring these warning signs doesn't just hurt you. It teaches the other person that disrespect is acceptable. Every time you let a cancelled plan slide without addressing it, or stay silent when they treat you poorly, you're sending a message. It's okay to treat me like this. But it's not okay. Not now. Not ever. Now, you might be wondering, but what if I've ignored these signs for too long? It's never too late to wake up. Recognizing the signs is the first step to reclaiming your power. Start asking yourself some tough questions. Am I tolerating disrespect? Am I overgiving and expecting too little in return? Am I ignoring red flags because I'm afraid to confront the truth? If the answer is yes, it's time to face reality. Picture this. You're holding a scale. On one side is everything you're giving, your time, energy, love, and attention. On the other side is everything you're receiving. If the scale is heavily tipped in one direction, something's wrong. Healthy relationships balance that scale. Don't let fear keep you from addressing the imbalance. Fear is a liar, whispering that if you stop trying, you'll lose them. But what's the cost of keeping them? Losing yourself? Sacrificing your dignity? That's too high a price to pay. Now you might be thinking, what if they don't care when I address the imbalance? Then let them go. People who genuinely value you will listen, adjust, and meet you halfway. Those who don't? They were never truly invested. Walking away from someone who doesn't value you isn't a loss, it's a victory. It's proof that you're no longer willing to settle for less than you deserve. Recognizing the warning signs isn't about blame. It's about taking responsibility for your role in the dynamic. It's about choosing to stop tolerating what isn't serving you. When you open your eyes, when you stop making excuses, you reclaim your power. So stop ignoring the flashing lights. Pull over, assess the damage, and decide if the road you're on is worth traveling. If it's not, take the turn towards self-respect. You'll never regret choosing yourself. And here's your affirmation for this moment. Drop a comment below that says, I see the signs, and I choose my worth. Let me know that you're ready to wake up and take back control. Like this video, subscribe, and take this as your sign. It's time to stop settling and start living. Let's go. Number 3. Step back to leap forward. The undeniable power of walking away. Sometimes the most powerful move isn't to fight for a place in their life. It's to leave and let them feel the emptiness you leave behind. Picture this. You're holding a flame in the palm of your hand, keeping someone else warm. They sit back, basking in the glow, taking the heat for granted. But over time the fire burns lower, and instead of tending to it, they assume it will keep burning forever. Then one day, you close your hand, extinguishing the flame. The cold rushes in, and for the first time, they realize just how much they needed your warmth. That's the power of stepping back. When someone stops valuing you, your natural instinct might be to chase them, to prove your worth, to fix what feels broken. But here's the truth. Chasing only solidifies your position as less than in their eyes. The more you pursue, the more they pull away. And why shouldn't they? You're doing all the work. You're feeding their ego, giving them attention, and demanding nothing in return. Now you might be thinking, but if I step back, won't they forget about me? They won't forget you. They'll notice. Absence is loud. It creates a vacuum that forces them to confront what they've been taking for granted. When you're no longer always available, always initiating, always bending over backward, they're left with a silence they can't ignore. Imagine this. You've been the one sending the texts, making the calls, planning the dates. They've grown comfortable, treating your effort as a given. Now, picture stopping. No more texts, no more calls, no more bending. Suddenly they're left wondering, what happened? Why haven't I heard from them? Did I mess up? That's the power of stepping back. It forces them to see what life looks like without you. But let's be clear, stepping back isn't about playing games or manipulating someone into chasing you. It's about reclaiming your energy and redirecting it where it belongs, toward yourself. It's about saying, if you can't value me, I'll value myself. Now, you might be wondering, what do I do with all the energy I used to give them? You invest it in yourself. Focus on your goals, your growth, your happiness. When you step back and pour into yourself, you become stronger, more confident, more self-assured. You stop needing their approval because you've found your own. And something incredible happens. The power dynamic shifts. Think of a magnet. When you chase someone, you're pushing the polarity away. But when you step back, you flip the script. Your absence becomes a pull they can't ignore. They start realizing what they've lost. But by then, something even more powerful has happened. You've grown to a place where you might not even want them back. Now you might be thinking, but what if they don't come back? Good. Let them stay gone. Because stepping back isn't about getting them back. It's about getting yourself back. It's about freeing yourself from the exhausting cycle of proving your worth to someone who never deserved your effort in the first place. Stepping back doesn't just reclaim your power, it transforms you. It reminds you that your value isn't tied to how much you give to someone else, it's tied to how much you give to yourself. And here's the kicker. The more you invest in yourself, the less you care about whether they notice. And when they do notice, and trust me, they will, you'll be standing in a place of strength, not neediness. You won't be the same person who was begging for scraps. You'll be the person who commands respect, not because you asked for it, but because you embody it. Now, you might be thinking, but what if stepping back feels too hard? It will feel hard. it will feel uncomfortable. That's how you know it's working. Growth isn't easy, and reclaiming your power doesn't happen without effort. But every step you take away from someone who doesn't value you is a step closer to the life you deserve. So here's your challenge. Stop texting first. Stop chasing. Stop explaining yourself. Focus on your goals, your passions, your joy. Let them sit in the silence of your absence. Let them feel the loss of what they took for granted. And here's your affirmation for this moment. Drop a comment below that says, "I reclaim my power." Let me know you're ready to step back and take control of your life. Like this video, subscribe, and remember, this isn't just about them, it's about you. Let's take the first step together. It's time to step back and leap forward. Number 4, become the prize. The transformative power of investing in yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup, yet here you are, running on fumes to fill someone else's glass. When was the last time you truly put yourself first? And no, scrolling on your phone or zoning out in front of a screen doesn't count. I mean the kind of self-investment that shakes you awake, that transforms you into a stronger, sharper version of yourself. The kind that makes you look in the mirror and think, "Damn, I'm proud of who I'm becoming." Now you might be wondering, but isn't focusing on myself selfish? Not at all. Investing in yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. The world doesn't reward those who shrink themselves for others. It rewards those who know their worth and act like it. People don't respect someone who neglects their own potential. They're drawn to those who grow, evolve, and thrive. If you're not growing, you're dying. Harsh, but true. Here's the problem. Most people spend their lives pouring all their energy into others. They bend over backward for relationships, sacrifice their dreams to make someone else happy, and wonder why they feel drained and invisible. Sound familiar? Let me break it to you. The world doesn't respect martyrs. It respects builders, people who build themselves up, brick by brick, no matter how many times life tries to knock them down. Imagine this. Instead of chasing after someone who doesn't value you, you channel that energy into becoming the best version of yourself. You hit the gym, you learn a new skill, you start that business you've always dreamed of. Instead of waiting for someone to notice you, you notice yourself. You set goals, and then you crush them. Ask yourself, what would the best version of me look like? Not the tired, overworked, unappreciated version you are right now, but the unstoppable version. The one who's fitter, stronger, more disciplined. The one who's financially secure, emotionally stable, and living with purpose. What's stopping you from being that person? Now you might be thinking, but what if I don't know where to start? Start small. The best version of you isn't built overnight. It's built through consistent effort. Maybe you wake up an hour earlier to exercise. Maybe you spend your evenings learning a skill instead of scrolling mindlessly. Maybe you take the time to journal, reflect, and plan your next move. The hardest truth to swallow is this. You are where you are because of you. Not your partner, not your parents, not your boss. You. And that's not an attack. It's an opportunity. Because if you got yourself here, you can also get yourself out. Every time you choose to invest in yourself, you're sending a powerful message to the world. I matter. I'm worth the time. I'm worth the energy. That shift doesn't just change you. It changes the way people see you. They start to respect you, not because you begged for it, but because you earned it. Now you might be asking, but what if it feels lonely? It might. Growth can feel isolating at times because not everyone will understand your journey. But here's the thing, the right people will. When you level up, you attract those who are on the same path. And the ones who can't handle your growth, they were never meant to stay. Picture this. A seed buried underground doesn't sprout into a tree by worrying about the other seeds. It grows because it focuses on absorbing what it needs: water, sunlight, nutrients. It breaks through the dirt and reaches for the sky, unbothered by whether the other seeds are growing or not. Be the seed. Focus on your growth. And here's the kicker. When you invest in yourself, you become magnetic. People are drawn to confidence, purpose, and discipline. They see the fire in your eyes, the strength in your steps, and they can't help but respect you. But by the time they notice, you might not even care anymore. Because when you truly invest in yourself, you realize that your worth was never tied to their opinion in the first place. So here's your challenge. Take a step, any step, that moves you closer to the best version of yourself. Drop the excuses, the distractions, the fear. Start today. And here's your affirmation. Drop a comment below that says, "I choose to invest in myself." Let the world know you're done playing small. Like this video, subscribe, and let's build the version of you that commands respect, not because you asked for it, but because you earned it. It's time to become the prize. Let's go. Number 5. Guard your kingdom. Set boundaries like a leader. The moment you compromise your boundaries for someone else is the moment you hand over the blueprint to your downfall. Imagine you're the ruler of a vast, beautiful kingdom. Your time, energy, and peace are the treasures that sustain your reign. But what happens when you leave the gates wide open, allowing anyone to come and take what they want? Chaos. Your kingdom falls apart, not because you weren't strong enough to defend it, but because you failed to set the boundaries that keep it safe. That's exactly what happens when you live without boundaries. Now you might be thinking, but aren't boundaries selfish? Won't they push people away? Boundaries aren't walls meant to isolate you. They're guardrails that protect your core values, your sanity, and your self-respect. They don't push the right people away. They teach them how to treat you. The only people who are threatened by your boundaries are the ones who benefit from you having none. Ask yourself this. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to scream no? How many times have you stayed silent while someone disrespected you just to avoid an argument? How many times have you gone along with something that made you uncomfortable simply to keep the peace? Every time you do this, you're sending a message. My needs don't matter. My time doesn't matter. My standards don't matter. And here's the harsh truth. People believe you. They'll treat you exactly as you allow them to. If you don't respect yourself enough to set boundaries, no one else will either. Now, you might be wondering, but what if people don't like my boundaries? Good. Let them wrestle with it. Boundaries aren't about pleasing others. They're about protecting yourself. And let's be clear, boundaries aren't acts of aggression. They're acts of self-respect. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you're difficult or rude. It means you're clear and firm about what you will and won't accept. Picture this. You're driving down a mountain road. The guardrails along the edge aren't there to trap you. They're there to keep you from falling off the cliff. That's what boundaries do. They keep your relationships safe by preventing them from spiraling into chaos. Without them, resentment builds, trust erodes, and respect disappears. Now you might ask, what if setting boundaries feels uncomfortable? It will, especially if you've spent your life bending over backward for others. The first time you say no, your voice might shake. The first time you call out disrespect, you might second-guess yourself. But remember this: growth always feels uncomfortable at first. Every time you stand firm, you're teaching others and yourself that you deserve respect. Being clear is key. When you express your needs without beating around the bush or sugarcoating them, you're setting a standard. Being firm is just as important, because boundaries without enforcement are meaningless. If someone crosses the line, you must be ready to call it out and take action if necessary. And you have to be unapologetic. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. A simple, "This doesn't work for me," is enough. Now you might think, what if they leave because of my boundaries? Let them. If someone can't handle your boundaries, they were never truly invested in your well-being. Boundaries don't chase away the right people. They filter out the wrong ones. The ones who stay, they're the ones who value you enough to respect your terms. Setting boundaries transforms you. It shifts you from being a passive participant in your relationships to being an active leader. It shows others and yourself that you have standards, that you value your time, and that you won't settle for less than you deserve. Think of a riverbank. The boundaries keep the water flowing in the right direction. Without them, the river would spill everywhere, losing its power and purpose. That's what boundaries do for your life. They keep your energy focused and your value intact. Now here's your task. Reflect on one area of your life where you've been letting people cross the line. Then, drop a comment below that says, "I set boundaries to protect my peace." This isn't just a statement, it's a commitment to yourself. Like this video, subscribe, and let's make today the day you reclaim your kingdom. Because when you set boundaries like a leader, you stop being a bystander in your life and start being the ruler you were born to be. Let's go. Number 6. The power of absence. Let them feel the void. They'll only notice your worth when your presence becomes a memory. Your presence is your power, but your absence, your deliberate silence, can be even more profound. Think about it. People don't treasure what's always available. They treasure what feels rare, what they fear losing. When you're constantly present, always giving and endlessly chasing, you unintentionally send a message. You don't have to value me. I'll always be here. Now imagine stepping back. Picture the ripple effect of your absence, the silence that echoes louder than your words ever could. This is the absence effect, a force so powerful it shakes people awake, forcing them to confront what they've taken for granted. Let me tell you a story. There was someone who made themselves available for everyone. They were the first to help, the first to reach out, the first to show up when others needed them. At first, people appreciated their efforts, but over time, things changed. Their constant presence became predictable, expected. People stopped saying thank you. They stopped reciprocating. They stopped showing up for them. Why? Because predictable things are easy to ignore. One day, this person decided to step back. They stopped being the first to text. They stopped making plans. They stopped offering their time to those who didn't value it. And what happened? Slowly, people began to notice. The same people who once ignored their efforts started reaching out, asking where they'd been, wondering why they hadn't heard from them. Their absence created a void, and that void forced others to realize how much they had taken for granted. This is the absence effect in action. Absence creates space. Space for reflection, space for awareness, and most importantly, space for others to understand your worth. Now, you might be thinking, but what if they don't notice my absence? What if they don't care? Good. That's your answer. If someone doesn't notice when you step back, they were never truly invested in you to begin with. And while that truth might sting, it's also liberating. Because when you stop pouring energy into people who don't value you, you free yourself to invest in those who do, or even better, to invest in yourself. Think of a candle burning brightly in a sunlit room. In the overwhelming light, its glow goes unnoticed. But when the room goes dark, that same candle becomes a beacon. Your absence works the same way. When you step back, you create darkness, a space where your presence was once taken for granted. And in that space, people are forced to reckon with the emptiness you leave behind. Now you might ask, but isn't stepping back just playing games? Not if you're doing it for the right reasons. The absence effect isn't about manipulation. It's not a ploy to make someone chase you or beg for your return. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your focus. It's about saying, I'm done investing in people who don't value me. This isn't a tactic, it's a transformation. Here's the beauty of stepping back. One of two things will happen. Either they'll recognize your value and step up, or they won't, and you'll realize you're better off without them. In both scenarios, you win. But here's the catch. You can't fake this. You can't step back for a day and expect immediate results. You have to mean it. You have to commit to it. Stepping back is an act of self-respect, not a strategy for attention. When you do it authentically, you'll feel the shift, not just in how others treat you, but in how you treat yourself. Picture a tree in a storm. The winds howl, branches sway, but the roots stay firm. When you step back, you become that tree, unshaken, rooted in your worth. You stop chasing approval and start living on your terms. And the best part, the right people will recognize that strength and come closer, not because you begged them to, but because they see your value. Now you might wonder, how do I start? Start small. Stop initiating conversations with those who make you feel invisible. Stop making plans with people who cancel on you. Redirect your energy toward yourself, toward your goals, your growth, and your happiness. Let your absence speak louder than your presence ever could. Here's your challenge. Reflect on the areas of your life where you've been overgiving, overextending, or overcompensating. Then drop a comment below that says, I reclaim my time and energy. This isn't just a statement, it's a commitment to yourself. Like this video, subscribe, and let this be the day you stop chasing and start commanding respect. Because when you step back, you're not just creating space, you're reclaiming your power. Let's make it happen together. Number 7. Stand like a mountain. Embrace unshakable confidence. True confidence doesn't roar, it whispers, I'm enough, and the world listens. Imagine walking into a crowded room. You're not scanning faces for approval or trying to measure up to anyone else. You're not the loudest, flashiest, or most attention-grabbing person there. But somehow, all eyes are on you. Not because you're trying, but because your presence commands it. That's the power of unshakable confidence. It's not loud. It's not desperate. It's magnetic. Now you might be thinking, but what is unshakable confidence really? It's not what society often portrays, being the loudest voice, the boldest personality, or the one with all the trophies. True confidence isn't about external displays of power. It's about internal certainty. It's the quiet belief that you are enough, exactly as you are. When you carry that belief, you don't need validation from others. You don't chase approval or try to prove your worth. You know it, and that knowing radiates from you. But here's the thing. Confidence like this doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's built, It's forged through choices, actions, and a commitment to yourself. Now you might ask, how do I start building that kind of confidence? It begins with a simple truth. Confidence isn't about what you have. It's about what you believe. You don't need a perfect body, a huge bank account, or a flashy car to feel confident. Those things are external, and anything external can be taken away. Real confidence is rooted in who you are, not what you own. It's the unshakable knowledge that your worth doesn't depend on anyone else's validation. Think of confidence like a muscle. Every time you show up for yourself, every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're strengthening that muscle. Imagine telling yourself, I'm going to start working out, and actually following through, or deciding to learn a new skill and sticking with it, even when it's hard. Each small victory isn't just about the achievement itself. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable. And the more you do that, the stronger your confidence grows. Now you might wonder, but what if I've failed before? Doesn't that make confidence harder to build? Not at all. Failure isn't the enemy of confidence. It's the foundation of it. Every time you fail and get back up, you're telling yourself that you're resilient. Confidence isn't about never falling. It's about knowing you can rise again, no matter how many times life knocks you down. Imagine a tree standing tall in a storm. The wind howls, the branches sway, but the roots are strong, anchoring it firmly in place. That's unshakable confidence. Life's storms might bend you, but they won't break you, because your roots, your self-belief, are too deep. Now you might think, but what if people don't notice my confidence? What if it's overlooked? They will notice. True confidence doesn't need to announce itself. It's the way you walk, the way you hold yourself, the way you speak, not loudly, but with clarity and purpose. It's the calmness in your eyes, the steadiness in your actions, and the quiet refusal to let anyone else dictate your worth. Start small. Make a list of 1 or 2 promises you've made to yourself and commit to keeping them. Maybe it's waking up earlier, sticking to a fitness goal, or simply carving out time for something you love. Every time you follow through, you're sending a message to yourself. I can trust me. That trust is the foundation of confidence. Now you might ask, but what if I don't feel confident yet? What if it takes too long? Confidence isn't about feeling perfect every day. It's about showing up for yourself, even on the days you don't feel like it. It's about taking small steps consistently and watching as those steps turn into a path. Over time, those small victories compound, and before you know it, you're walking into that crowded room, not needing anyone's approval because you've already given it to yourself. So here's your challenge. Decide on 1 promise you'll keep to yourself, starting today. Then drop a comment below that says, I build my confidence from within. Let me know you're ready to take that first step. Like this video, subscribe, and let's build this confidence together. This isn't just about feeling good for a moment. It's about creating a foundation of self-belief that nothing and no one can shake. Because when you embrace unshakable confidence, you don't just change how others see you, you change how you see yourself. Let's go. Number 8. Say less. Command more. The art of stopping over-explaining. The need to explain yourself is the first sign you're doubting yourself. Imagine standing in a courtroom where you're not on trial, but you're still defending yourself. The judge isn't even listening. The jury has no authority, and yet you're pouring out reasons, justifications, and explanations. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? That's exactly what you're doing every time you over-explain your boundaries, decisions, or standards to people who don't deserve an explanation. Now you might be thinking, but if I don't explain myself, won't people think I'm rude or unkind? Let me ask you this. Has over-explaining ever truly made someone respect you more? Did rambling through your reasons ever stop them from pushing back? Or did it just make you seem unsure of yourself? Over-explaining isn't about clarity, it's about insecurity. It's a reflex born out of fear. Fear of being misunderstood, judged, or disliked. But here's the truth. Confident people don't over-explain. They state their choices clearly and confidently, and they let their actions do the talking. If someone doesn't like it, that's not their concern. Think about the last time you said no to a plan and then immediately started rambling about why. Did the other person respect your decision more? Or did they see an opening to challenge you, knowing you weren't fully standing behind your own words? Over-explaining is like leaving the door cracked open. It invites people to push further, to test your boundaries, to question your resolve. Now you might wonder, if I don't explain, won't people think I'm cold or unapproachable? When you stop over-explaining, you're not being cold, you're being clear. You're showing people that you respect your own decisions enough not to defend them. Picture this. You're building a fortress. Every time you over-explain, it's like knocking a brick out of the wall, weakening the structure. But when you speak with simplicity and confidence, you're reinforcing that fortress, brick by brick. The power of silence is underrated. Imagine someone questioning your decision. Instead of launching into a detailed explanation, you say, "That doesn't work for me." If they push back, you calmly repeat, "That doesn't work for me." No need to elaborate. No need to justify. The simplicity of your statement is its strength. Now you might be thinking, but isn't that dismissive? Won't it create conflict? Conflict arises when people sense hesitation. When you're firm and concise, you leave no room for debate. You're not dismissing their opinion. You're honoring your own. Confidence is quiet. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, and it doesn't explain itself unnecessarily. When you stop over-explaining, you're telling the world, "I know my worth, and I don't need your approval to validate it." That's powerful. But let's address the fear that might still linger. What if they don't understand why I'm saying no or setting a boundary? Let them wonder. Your decisions aren't a group project. You don't need their understanding to live your truth. Their confusion is not your responsibility. Think of this as a practice in self-respect. The next time someone questions you, pause. Resist the urge to fill the silence with explanations. Say what you need to say, and then stop talking. Let the silence do the work for you. Silence isn't empty. It's filled with confidence, clarity, and strength. Now you might wonder, but won't they think I don't care about their feelings? Respect goes both ways. If someone truly respects you, they won't demand an explanation for every choice you make. And if they don't respect you, no amount of explaining will change that. When you stop over-explaining, something shifts. You start to feel lighter, freer, more in control. The respect you're seeking begins to come naturally because people are drawn to certainty. They're drawn to the quiet strength of someone who doesn't need to explain themselves to be heard. This doesn't mean you're dismissive or unkind. It means you value your time, energy, and words enough not to waste them. It means you trust yourself enough to stand firm without seeking approval. It means you've stopped putting your worth on trial. Here's your task. The next time someone pushes for an explanation you don't owe them, resist. Stand firm, repeat yourself if necessary, but say less. Then drop a comment below that says, I stand by my decisions. This isn't just a statement, it's a declaration of your worth. Like this video, subscribe, and remember, every time you stop over-explaining, you're reclaiming a piece of yourself. This isn't just about speaking less, it's about living more. Let's go. Number 9. Drop the anchor, cut the dead weight, and watch yourself soar. You can't reach new heights if you're chained to what holds you down. Let's cut through the noise and face the truth. Are there people in your life dragging you down? Maybe it's that friend who only shows up when they need something. Maybe it's a partner who belittles your dreams. Maybe it's a coworker who undermines you every chance they get. You already know who they are. Deep down, you've known for a while. These people aren't just inconveniences, they're dead weight. And the longer you hold on to them, the longer you stay stuck. Now you might be thinking, but isn't it cruel to cut people off? What if they need me? Let me ask you this. What about what you need? What about your dreams, your goals, your peace of mind? Sacrificing yourself for someone who drains you isn't kindness, it's self-sabotage. Picture this. You're climbing a mountain, determined to reach the summit. But strapped to your back is a massive, useless backpack filled with rocks. Every step is harder than it needs to be. The weight slows you down, saps your energy, and makes you question whether the climb is even worth it. Now imagine unstrapping that backpack and letting it fall away. How much lighter would you feel? How much easier would the climb become? That's what cutting toxic people out of your life does. It frees you to move forward. But let's be honest, cutting people off isn't easy. It's uncomfortable, awkward, and sometimes painful. There will be moments when you second-guess yourself, when guilt creeps in, whispering that maybe you should give them one more chance. But here's the harsh truth. Every time you tolerate their disrespect, their selfishness, their toxicity, you're sending a message to them and to yourself that their behavior is acceptable. And that message has consequences. Now you might be wondering, but what if they change? What if I'm giving up on someone who just needs help? People only change when they want to. And here's the thing, it's not your job to fix anyone. You can't pour your energy into someone who refuses to do the work themselves. Your time and energy are limited resources. Every moment you spend on someone who doesn't value you is a moment stolen from your own growth, happiness, and goals. Ask yourself, how many of your dreams have been delayed because you were too busy carrying someone else's baggage? How many opportunities have you missed because you were stuck cleaning up someone else's mess? How much of your energy has been drained trying to please people who can't even see your worth? It's time to stop. Cutting the dead weight isn't about revenge or proving a point. It's about survival. It's about creating space for people who uplift you, who believe in you, who contribute to your life instead of draining it. It's about choosing yourself unapologetically. Now you might be thinking, but how do I even start? Start by identifying the people who drain you. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with them. Are you energized or are you exhausted? Are you motivated or are you doubting yourself? Once you've identified the dead weight, set boundaries. Let them know what you will and won't tolerate. Be clear, be firm, and don't waver. But here's the catch. Some people won't respect your boundaries. They'll push, manipulate, and try to guilt you into going back to the way things were. That's when you need to walk away. No explanations, no apologies. Walking away isn't cruelty, it's courage. It's choosing your well-being over someone else's comfort. Now you might ask, but what if I feel guilty? What if it feels too hard? Of course it will feel hard. Letting go of toxic people can feel like tearing out a part of yourself. But every step you take away from them is a step toward freedom. And here's the truth about guilt. It's a trick your mind plays on you to keep you in the familiar. Don't let guilt keep you shackled to what's harming you. Imagine the life you could have if you stopped carrying the weight of people who don't value you. Imagine the energy you'd have to invest in your dreams, the space you'd create for meaningful relationships, the peace you'd feel waking up each day knowing you've chosen yourself. This is your moment to unstrap the backpack, to let go of the chains, to drop the anchor. Don't let dead weight hold you down any longer. Here's your challenge. Think of one person in your life who is holding you back. Then drop a comment below that says, "I choose to cut the dead weight." Let it be a declaration to yourself and to the world that you're ready to reclaim your energy and move forward. Like this video, subscribe, and let's make today the day you stop climbing with unnecessary weight and start soaring. You've got this. Let's go. Number 10. Laser in on your life. Reclaim your focus and take back control. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So why are you pouring it into things that don't deserve it? Imagine you're holding a bucket of water. This water represents your time, energy, and focus. Everything you need to grow, succeed, and live a fulfilled life. But there's a problem. The bucket has holes, tiny, constant leaks. A toxic relationship here, a pointless argument there, late-night overthinking that serves no purpose. Drop by drop, your water is draining away, leaving you empty and exhausted. Now ask yourself, how much of my energy is being wasted on things that don't matter? Maybe it's a person who constantly disrespects you, a friend who only calls when they need something, or a toxic work environment that keeps you stressed and stuck. Whatever it is, every moment you spend focusing on these distractions is a moment stolen from your growth, your goals, and your peace. You might be thinking, but isn't it normal to worry about these things? Sure, it's normal, but normal doesn't mean productive. How many nights have you stayed up replaying an argument in your head, crafting the perfect comeback for a conversation that's already over? How many hours have you spent scrolling through social media, comparing your life to carefully curated highlight reels of strangers? How much time have you wasted trying to fix relationships with people who don't even care about meeting you halfway? Now, imagine taking all that time, all that energy, and redirecting it toward things that truly matter.